US President Joe Biden announced on July 21st that he would end his re-election campaign. This decision followed a series of strategic missteps by his campaign team and White House aides, amplifying concerns that the 81-year-old president would not be able to win in November's election or govern for another 4 years. Biden's faltering performance at the June 27th presidential debate against Republican candidate Donald Trump pushed even some of his closest allies to question his endurance for a full campaign. This added fuel to a growing movement within the Democratic Party, questioning the wisdom of his second term. In a matter of days, Biden transitioned from being the Democratic Party's figurehead to a political liability. This marked him as the first sitting president to withdraw from a potential re-election bid since Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968. Key moments leading to Biden's downfall unfolded rapidly.
Including 14.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
The cascade began in April, when Biden agreed to debate Trump, despite concerns from some Democratic allies that such an encounter might do little to bolster his chances and could even cast him in an unflattering light. Biden's campaign aides believed they had scored a significant win by scheduling an early debate. They worked with CNN to shape the debate rules in Biden's favor, hoping to portray him as the sole viable anti-Trump option while cushioning any negative impact from a lackluster performance, as per a Reuters report. In preparation for the debate, Biden embarked on a grueling travel schedule, flying to Europe twice and to the West Coast over a 14-day period, with only a few days of rest at his vacation home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. By the end of this travel, Biden was visibly fatigued. His aides organized intense preparation sessions at Camp David starting June 21st, peppering him with details and mock debates for 7 days. On the night of the debate, in CNN's Atlanta studios, Biden stumbled over his words and lost his train of thought. His delivery and appearance drew immediate scrutiny from reporters, prompting his aides to reveal that he was battling a cold. Although Biden's hoarseness improved as the debate progressed, his disjointed answers shocked voters, donors, and Democratic officials alike. One strategist described the performance as a disaster. Trump, 78, took advantage of the situation, repeating well-worn falsehoods and questioning Biden's coherence. "I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said," Trump jabbed. Following the debate, calls for Biden to step down began almost immediately. By July 2nd, the chorus of dissent grew louder as Democratic lawmakers, facing their own re-election battles, saw their political futures at risk. But Biden remained defiant and tried his best to tone down these rhetorics.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one, the fact is that the consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again. Secondly, the idea, I served in the Senate a long time. The idea that senators and congressmen running for office worry about the ticket is not unusual. And I might add, there are at least 5 presidents running or incumbent presidents who had lower numbers than I have now, later in the campaign. So there's a long way to go in this campaign. And so I'm just going to keep moving, and because, look, I got more work to do. We've got more work to finish.
Representative Lloyd Doggett was among the first to break ranks, and other prominent Democrats soon followed. Donors expressed their concerns, demanding a turnaround in Biden's performance. Senior Democrats, including influential figures like House of Representatives Democrat Jim Clyburn, began hinting at changes to the ticket. Despite Biden's efforts to quell the dissent, including a major interview with ABC News on July 5th, the calls for him to step aside persisted. Biden's comment that only the Lord Almighty could force him out of the race, and his acceptance of potentially losing to Trump, alarmed many within the party. Biden's struggles continued during the NATO summit in mid-July, where he mixed up names of key leaders. Polls indicated that Biden was trailing other Democrats in crucial states and districts, though nationwide polls suggested a close race. Yet Biden remained steadfast, convinced he was the best candidate to face Trump.
As they defended their country.
The situation took a dramatic turn on July 13th when Trump was shot during a rally in Pennsylvania. Though the bullet only grazed his ear, the incident galvanized Republican support and intensified Democratic fears. Shortly thereafter, Biden contracted COVID-19 while campaigning in Nevada, leaving him isolated at his Rehoboth Beach home to contemplate his future. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump stated on Sunday that he believes Vice President Kamala Harris will be easier to defeat in the upcoming November election than Democratic President Joe Biden, who has stepped aside as his party's candidate. Trump made these remarks to CNN shortly after Biden announced his decision, according to a CNN reporter's post on X. President Biden has endorsed Vice President Harris to be the Democratic Party's presidential candidate. Harris made history in 2021 as the first woman and the first Black and South Asian American to serve as U.S. Vice President. Despite this milestone, Harris has faced challenges in distinguishing herself in her role. Born in Oakland, California, to immigrant parents, a mother from India, and a father from Jamaica, Harris was primarily raised by her single mother, Shyamala Gopalan Harris, a cancer researcher and civil rights activist. Harris's diverse background and upbringing have allowed her to connect with various American identities. She has embraced both her Indian heritage and Black culture, as her mother immersed Kamala and her sister Maya in Oakland's Black community. Harris began her career in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, eventually becoming the District Attorney of San Francisco in 2003. She later served as California's Attorney General, the first woman and the first Black person to hold the position in the state. In the 2020 presidential race, Harris initially competed against Biden and others for the Democratic nomination, but withdrew after a campaign hindered by unclear positions on health care. Now, as the Democratic presidential candidate, she aims to become the first woman president of the United States. Despite her historic candidacy, Harris has faced difficulties, including a rocky start to her vice presidency and poor polling numbers. The U.S. Constitution stipulates that the vice president assumes the presidency if the president dies or becomes incapacitated, but it does not specify the process for selecting a party nominee. Potential replacements for Biden have been mentioned, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. All have been Biden supporters, working towards his election success up until this point.